Hi, all. I hope you guys are having a great day so far. We're going to take a few minutes and go through the Great Depression notes that you should have already printed off and have in front of you for class time. So let's get started. Basically, we understand because you guys should have already watched the little video on the 4 reasons for the stock market crash. And so we're going to move on now and talk about the Great Depression. And we understand that the first reason for the Great Depression was the stock market crash. So once you've got that in your head, then we can move on and talk about the other reasons for the Great Depression. So let's start with President Hoover, who obviously was president when the stock market crashed and when the whole thing began. Hoover started serving his presidency on March 4th, 1929, which is a little later than we do it now. Today, after a constitutional amendment with Franklin Delano Roosevelt, we now inaugurate our president on January 20th. Waiting until March 4th was just too long. We saw that with Abraham Lincoln. He wasn't inaugurated, I think, until April. And the Civil War had basically become a thing before he even got into office. And he watched it happen. So President Hoover becomes president on March 4th, 1929. And then October 29th, 1929, the stock market crashes and everything falls apart. After the stock market crashed, we have the run on banks. This is the second reason for the Great Depression. People feared that they wouldn't be able to get their money out of the banks or that it would be lost. So they demanded all of their money from the banks. Banks ran out of money and were forced to close. More people lost money than would have if everyone had been calm. Basically, banks don't keep all of the money that you deposit in there all the time. So they don't have a safe in the back that has all the money for all the depositors. They use that money to make money. So they borrow it or loan it out to other people and to businesses for interest. And then that interest is paid to the bank, and the bank makes money, and they pay you a little tiny bit of interest if you have a savings account. So they make more money than you do, but they don't hold it all there. And people didn't really understand that. And if they did, they didn't really care. It's a little bit like the toilet paper in the supermarket today. Everybody is running up and demanding all of the toilet paper. And so there's not enough. If everybody would take a little bit of toilet paper, then we would all have enough for this little crisis that we're experiencing. The Timms house is a little low on toilet paper, but I think we're going to be fine. Okay, so here is a picture of the run on banks and people waiting outside to get into the bank and just kind of the pandemonium that ensued. Unemployment went up after the stock market crash. This led families to make sacrifices, including taking in laundry or renting out extra rooms. Many families were unable to meet the demands of their home loans and lost their homes altogether. It would be interesting to know, or we should note, that unemployment reached 25% during the Great Depression, which was astronomically high. Here are some men looking for a job. Farming. The next issue that we have is farming. The Great Plains in the central part of the country had been overgrazed by cattle, and during the war had been overfarmed. During the Depression, a 3-year drought hit the area, and because of poor soil conditions from overfarming, the topsoil was gone, and the land turned into a great dust bowl. The wind blew constantly, and people had to use their headlights on their cars in the daytime. So this the third reason, for the Great Depression is this 3-year drought. So we have the first reason being the stock market crash, the second reason being the run on banks, and the third reason is the 3-year drought. If you talk to different historians, they're going to give you different reasons, and that is fine. For our purposes and what we're studying, we're going to go with those 3 main reasons. We could argue different merits of different causes for eternity and probably never come to an agreement. So for American history, 8th grade at the King's Academy, those are our reasons. Here's a picture of a car with a dust cloud coming behind it. Those clouds were full of static electricity, and so everything is dry. You can see the wooden fences there and everything. And so the static electricity in there created lots of fire and lots of hazards. The Dust Bowl mostly happened in the Central Plains around this area. The dust storms were common, so towels were soaked in water and put in front of windows and door openings to stop the dust from coming into the house. The wall of dust of a dust storm could reach 2 miles high with a width of over 100 miles and could travel up to 50 miles per hour. When a dust storm occurred, the sun would be completely blocked out and the houses and cars would be covered in dust. The temperature could drop as much as 40 degrees, and the air was full of static electricity. Here's another picture of a dust wall. Down here are the houses. You can't really see it very well. It's a pretty old picture, and our lighting isn't very good. But here's a better picture. Here's the houses, of course, and then here's that wall of dust coming up to the houses, which I would think would be overwhelming to see. So Hoover, who is the president at the time, has a plan. Although Hoover sympathized with the people and had great concern for them, he felt that the problems of the Depression were best dealt with on the local level, meaning the state, county, and city governments. The thinkers and leaders in communities were better equipped to come up with solutions, and creating government agencies to deal with the crisis would only create red tape and, in essence, slow down aid. Many people saw this as a lack of concern and believed that Hoover was not doing enough to help the country. But if we remember back to talking about Hoover in class last week, Hoover actually was a great humanitarian and cared very much for people, but he was also concerned about government control and giving up rights for bigger government. Here's a picture of a Hooverville, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Of a house in a Hooverville, and then here's an actual Hooverville. Here's another little house. Hoover did not believe that the federal monies should be given to individuals or doled out, but rather should be used for a larger purpose that would benefit many. If a state was given money for public works, then locals would be hired to do the work, and many people would benefit from the same money. He also did not believe that the government should regulate business. If the government takes over businesses and begins to regulate it, we're heading towards communism. He believed that doing so would be an invitation to dictatorship, corruption, waste, and inefficiency. He defended personal freedom against government encroachment. He greatly feared socialism, and we know the end goal of socialism is always communism. He was reluctant to spend large amounts of money because he believed in keeping the federal budget balanced. Although Hoover's plan was good, it took time to work. People were concerned only with their own suffering and need and grew impatient with the president. They felt he was not doing, there should be a not in there, enough quickly enough. Even though he created thousands of jobs through government construction programs and even began building the Hoover Dam on the Colorado River. He also created a bill that was passed into law in 1932 called the Reconstruction Finance Corporation. Well, the bill wasn't, but that was the name of the company he created. Here's a picture of the building of the Hoover Dam. And then there's the completed Hoover Dam. Those little things there look like something from the Jetsons. And there's a more modern picture of the dam, but probably more like in the 60s, maybe 70s. Okay, this corporation loaned billions, that is the Reconstruction Finance Corporation, loaned billions to private companies that would undertake projects that would employ more men. He also created 12 district banks that were authorized to loan money to loan associations, banks, and insurance agencies, who in turn would aid homeowners. Although Hoover's plans were successful, he still faced much criticism for not doing enough quickly enough. The population began to blame him and the Republicans for their economic troubles, and many began to change to Democrat. The Bonus Army is one group who demanded government help. One group who demanded government help were the veterans of World War I. The veterans had been promised life insurance bonuses that would mature, meaning be usable, in 1945. Many of the veterans wanted the government to pay a portion of the money early. They went to D.C. in 1932 to demand that Congress release the money early. Several thousand camped along the Potomac River, for the summer, but when Congress voted down the plan, most returned home defeated. Those that remained tried to start riots. Hoover urged Congress to give the men enough money to return home and then ordered they be evicted, if not gone, by July 28th. Part of the problem the Congress had with not releasing the money is they didn't really have the money to release at that time. Here's a picture of the Bonus Army camped out. Here's a night picture behind with the Capitol behind. The Democrat candidate was Roosevelt in 1932, the governor of New York, while socialists and communists also ran candidates. Roosevelt campaigned on optimism and promised new costly government programs, but also promised to cut the budget by 25%, which, how would that even work if you're going to create all these new programs? He promised voters a New Deal. Many were drawn to him because he brought hope for strong actions that might bring change. Roosevelt carried 42 of 48 states to become president. And here are some pictures of Roosevelt as he is on the campaign trail. Actually, yeah, I think that is. I don't know. Okay, so we know Roosevelt won the election. So hopefully all of your notes now should be complete. If not, you can watch this again. Be sure to go back and write down the second reason for the Great Depression was the run on bakes, and the third reason was the 3-year drought. On the test, you'll have to be able to list those 3 causes of the Great Depression, and remember, you'll also have to be able to list the causes of the stock market crash. On Friday or Monday, we are probably going to do a live class through Zoom. So I'm going to put it on the assignment sheet that you need to go ahead and download Zoom and get ready for that. But I'll have it all set up, and then we'll meet and talk on Friday or Monday, depending on when your class date is. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye.